Welcome to the first edition of Into the Jungle. This week, we will be recapping the Washington Commanders preseason game, the finale preseason, and previewing the opening week Cleveland Browns game. Welcome to Into the Jungle. Again, welcome to Into the Jungle. I'm Buckeye Mike. I am your awesome host for this and Browns Weekly, but we're not talking about the Browns today in this episode. We're talking all about the Cincinnati Bengals. And recently, the Cincinnati Bengals this past weekend played the Washington Commanders to close out their preseason. Well, they played at FedEx Field on Saturday, and it's not the outcome that we expected to a degree. Our Cincinnati Bengals lost to the Washington Commanders 21-19. They almost pulled off a great comeback. No thanks to any of the quarterbacks. We had an amazing showing from one Jake Browning. Yes, that Jake Browning that Ohio State beat in the Rose Bowl. Trevor Siemian, we discovered, plays on the Cincinnati Bengals. Cincinnati closed out the preseason 0-2-1, and that lone tie was with the Atlanta Falcons, 13-13 tie the previous week. Well, overall, the offense looked really good under Browning. I think Browning is definitely a solid backup. He could be a really good backup for Joe Burrow. If this team wants to win with Joe Burrow being sidelined with injury, I think easiest thing to do is to go with Browning. Trevor Siemian had some good glimpses as this his playtime showed, but that's neither here nor there. And I think it's obvious which way the Bengals want to go. Obviously, some of this preseason was promising. In some ways, even though Cincinnati finished last in the preseason in the AFC North standings, behind Baltimore and Cleveland, who both went 1-2. The only difference with Cleveland is they went 1-2-1, which put them above Baltimore, and Pittsburgh obviously winning the division at 3-0. Let's see. In this game, Trevor Siemian is your leading passer, and he had 14 of 23 for 133 yards and an interception. Your leading rusher for the Cincinnati Bengals was Chase Brown. Now, Chase Brown, I think there's a lot of potential for Chase to grow and have success with the Cincinnati Bengals, and I think he's a good option to, be like, hey, Joe Mixon's kind of been a problem. Yeah, Mixon's good and everything, but Joe, I think it's time to kind of move on from Joe Mixon because of all the baggage that he has. That's just my opinion. I think Chase has really shown us that there's definitely something there with him, and he definitely could become the guy for the Bengals. like I said, I think he is a really good option for them. I think he brings a lot to the table. We saw what he could do in college. He's big, tough, and okay, so for example, in 2022 with Illinois, he played in 12 games. He had 328 carries, 1,643 yards. That averages out to 5 yards a carry, and he had 10 touchdowns. Receiving wise, he had 27 catches for 240 yards, averaging out to 8.9 yards per catch and 3 touchdowns. And from scrimmage, he participated in 355 plays for 1,883 yards, averaging 5.3 yards from scrimmage and 13 touchdowns. In his entire Illinois career, he had 605 carries for 3,206 yards, averaging 5.3 yards per carry, 18 touchdowns at Illinois. Receiving wise, he had 446 catches. No, he had 48 catches for 446 yards, averaging out to 9.3 yards per carry, basically averaging a first down every time he caught the ball, and 3 touchdowns. From scrimmage, yards from scrimmage, he had 653 plays for 3,652 yards from scrimmage, averaging out to 5.6 yards and 21 touchdowns just at Illinois. So there's a lot of promise and depth. 1, at the running back position. 2, in Chase Brown alone, there's a lot of promise. And I think that Chase could be the guy to help Cincinnati eventually get over the hump. There are other key pieces that the Bengals need to get over the hump. And as we'll get into it in the back half of the show, they have a lot of problems when it comes to Cleveland, especially in the Joe Burrow era. But with that being said, I'd like to take a quick ad break here, and I hope everyone enjoys the ad. So, yes.
In a world full of fakes, how to avoid buying fake items that look just like the real thing? Are you getting faked over? Experts say it's all in the details.
Alrighty. And thank you again to eBay for being our sponsor. Their link is down below in the description. Thank you, eBay, for being our sponsor. Use the link in the description. We have a new link now. It's a sports memorabilia link. So click the link, go over there, check it out, use the discount code. And enjoy your shopping on eBay. All right, now for the main portion of why we do this show, or the shows that we do. Week 1, Cincinnati Bengals on the road at Cleveland Browns, September 10th, 2023, 1 p.m. Eastern Time at Cleveland Browns Stadium in Cleveland, Ohio. Now, having said everything I said in the beginning of the show, I want to take a look here at both sides. Everything I saw from the Browns is promising from the first team and the second team, which is why I think Cincinnati will continue to struggle with the Browns. But I think what we saw from both sides in this preseason, how similar they look, and how they have similar issues still on the different sides of the ball. I think it makes for a high-scoring game because I think the defenses will do enough to make some stops so that it's not a crazy out-of-this-world score. But I still think it's high-scoring enough that the defenses will struggle to a degree to stop both offenses. I expect to see standout from Sam Hubbard. Sorry, I have to turn my Cleveland Browns light bulb off. I expect to see a lot from Sam Hubbard on the defensive side. I expect to see a lot from the corners as in the secondary, as you not only have to worry about Amari Cooper, but now you have to worry about Austin Watkins, who is a crazy standout player from, get this, the Birmingham Stallions of the USFL. Yeah, you guys have a spring league wide receiver. That's where he came from. Anyway, I think it's going to be key to, have the quarterbacks play it out. I think this is a perfect opportunity to have Jake Browning play the whole game, start the game, and for him to show you what he has and to show you why, in my opinion, granted, I'm recording this, I think, before the 53-man rosters come out for Cincinnati, which we can kind of get into next week or later this week when it breaks. I think if you have Jake Browning play, he can show you why he deserves to be quarterback number 2. I think Trevor Siemian, if he's quarterback number 2, is the only reason he would be is the fact that he has more experience and has been in the league longer, which not by much. I mean, only a few years. I think on the defensive side of the ball, there's going to be a lot for Cincinnati to think about and try to cover between Deshaun Watson, Amari Cooper, Austin Watkins, and you have to figure out how you're going to beat DeJuan Jones off the edge to even get to Deshaun Watson. I think, this is probably the best or one of the best Browns offensive lines we've seen in a long time. Probably at least since the 90s, if not the 80s, when they would continuously make the playoffs. I do think there's a lot of potential here as a whole for the team to make another deep run, but that's for another day. Like I said, I think overall this one's going to be close. I think it's going to come down to key moments. You're going to have big key opportunity plays. And I think in the end, it's going to not come out in our favor. I think the Bengals offense currently the way that it is, like I said, obviously in the score right here, Browns 31, Bengals 27. I think they have enough firepower to keep up with Cleveland. I think Cleveland has just a little bit more firepower and stability on defense with Myles Garrett coming off the edge. You've got your deep and better corners. Jordan Elliott on the other side is actually questionable. So your key players for Cincinnati, Chris Evans is questionable for the game. I'm thinking he probably will play. Joseph Osai is questionable, and Travion Williams are all questionable for Cincinnati. Now, on the Cleveland side of the ball, Jordan Elliott, the defensive tackle, I think on the other side, as opposite of Myles Garrett, is questionable. So is Tony Fields II, Denzel Ward, and Jordan Konzeski, the linebacker. Jakeem Grant Sr., the wide receiver, is on the IR for the Browns. So, currently, the Bengals are given a 61.2% chance to win the game. I think this game could be more of a closer to 50-50, and it's mostly because Joe Burrow is not playing. I think the Browns definitely have a chance here to do something crazy and actually win this game. And I wouldn't be surprised. Now, this game is going to be on CBS and will be televised here locally in Columbus, in Ohio. I love to watch this game every year, both times that it's played, because of the craziness that this game shows. And yes, sometimes it's been blowout lately, but I don't think it will be this year. I think both teams are honestly balanced and have enough there and can do what they can to make it close like this. I think we're in for a treat. It's week 1. It's feel out. Even though we had the preseason, you finally have your 53-man rosters at this point. You know who's your first stringers. I think Joe Burrow being out, Deshaun Watson being in, and having played some with the first team in the preseason. Granted, I feel like he should have played more. I think with that advantage alone is going to give the Browns the edge here. And I'm going to say Browns 31, Bengals 27. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. And that is going to wrap this week's episode of Into the Jungle. Stay tuned, please, as we will continue to cover the Bengals, and I'm going to start taking notes so that the shows can be better for you, because I am looking in my head back at this performance. I'm not fully confident in this, but we're going to keep slaying it out and get better. Stay tuned to Shady Sports Network and the Buckeye Mike channel as we are launching shows right and left. We got shows and videos coming out right and left on both videos and shows on Buckeye Mike channel, shows on Shady Sports. And hey, if you're not following Shady Sports Network, go over there, give them a follow. And while you're at it, follow Buckeye Mike, because that's the right thing to do. And see you next time. Thank you, everyone.
I'm a game changer. I'm a game changer. I'm a game changer.